I wanted to watch
You
Red
you haven't
Door.
seen Red Door yet. You haven't seen Red Door.
Not yet.
Okay. Because I have. We had like HMV over here, which would be your like JB Hi-Fi.
Yeah.
They had like some crazy Black Friday deals. I went in and I got it with 20% off because I was like, because all the stuff I've heard about the movie, I was like, okay, I want to try and get this reduced, and it was interesting. It was interesting. I'm gonna be very polite in saying I think Insidious should have ended after part two. Three I struggle with. Last Key has some really interesting kind of scare moments,
Yeah.
and Red Door is really well directed by Patrick Wilson. I do not want to have a go at that, but the storyline was just strange. And it's a horror movie at an hour and 47 minutes as well. And I
Huh.
was really, when it ends, it just ends, and I was like, all right, because I knew it had ended because Ghost came on with Stay, and I was like, oh. I was like, thank the movie for that, because that cover is incredible. But yeah, I'll talk to you more about it when you've seen it. But yeah, I
I
would just
don't remember seeing this part. Is it still written by like Leigh Whannell and James Wan, or was it different people who wrote this one?
Leigh Whannell is credited with a story, but it was written by Scott Steams. So it was written by somebody else, and it shows. I
Yeah.
think. I think, but I will say there are connections to the legacy of Insidious. So it's other than like the kind of family. It was such a strange one because I never kind of felt like the movie kicked in, like
Oh.
ever. Yeah, it was one of those things where you kind of feel like, right, okay, cool, I'm in the movie, and the film just never really got into gear, and then it ends. But I will say there's a new character in it that I absolutely love, but I don't want to keep like spoiling it, but yeah, because I know what I'm like. I'll keep talking, and then it'll be like, oh god, I've just spoiled the film. But I hope you enjoy it. I really do hope you enjoy it because I'm glad I had my expectations tempered a little bit, because
Yeah.
it was like, you know, uh,
See, it's such a shame because when number two started, obviously
yeah,
it's moments after the first one. You were in that straight away because you already
yeah,
knew
yeah,
what story that you were getting involved in. And yeah, that's such a shame to actually come back to that family and just not pay off. Because I actually can't
yeah,
watch the first two movies without watching them together. Like I have to, it has to be together. Otherwise,
yeah.
to me, it's not the complete story.
I think the problem is it's partially like James Wan, like because I've just recently listened to a podcast with him, and he talks about his entire career, and it's brilliant. But I feel like James Wan is the solution to horror, but he's also a problem, all right?
Yeah,
Because the guy is so bloody talented that he makes these great movies like Insidious, Conjuring, and all that, and Saw, but then he disappears. And I don't blame him because even he says, like, I get to a point where I feel like I've mined everything that I want to mine. Where do I go? And I'm like, great. But then they continue the franchise without him, and you
yeah.
feel it. You feel the loss. And it's like, oh no. Like, because that's the problem. Like, Insidious after James goes never feels the same. Conjuring definitely doesn't feel the same, and that one for me is one franchise I think should just be scrapped now. I really do,
The
but it just
Conjuring
makes,
series.
yeah, it just makes too much money. My problem with it is they like the problem with like the MCU is they're so structured with a story that you're just waiting for the next chapter. Whereas The Conjuring is the complete opposite, where you feel like they are just making each one up, and then they're going in and retconning things in previous movies to make it fit into each kind of movie, and you just go, oh. And again, another problem with the Conjuring movies I've had personally is they focus on a singular creature like Annabelle, the nun, and it's like, where was the Crooked Man movie? People want to see that. You know, why haven't we branched out a little bit further away from those? But
Yeah, when you watch something like Annabelle Comes Home, when they have like a bit of like their 13 ghosts moment where there's like all these, you know, artifacts get released from the room, they're gonna try and, you know, put them back. I'm thinking, how many movies have you just foreshadowed? Okay, we're gonna have the Fairyman, we're gonna have this, we're gonna have this and this and this. Was it them kind of like seeing what kind of reaction they could get to those particular characters? Okay, we'll make that the next one. But still, yeah, you're correct that we still didn't get our Crooked Man one, and they've been talking about it for a very long time. Which I'd prefer to see a Crooked Man one than another nun one, because I wasn't the biggest fan of the first one. The first Annabelle, very, very rushed. I did like the second. The Annabelle Comes Home, it was okay. But I want my Fairyman movie now. Considering he's been mentioned in more than just the Conjuring universe, he's been mentioned in movies like From Hell. Where's the Fairyman? There's so much you can do with that one.
yeah, especially with the coins on the eyes, like that is an image.
There's such a great mythology just behind the story of him in general. So, yeah, no. Instead of doing another Annabelle, instead of doing another nun, because I don't see me rushing out to go see this new one. To be honest, I didn't really think that much of the other one, but like she was like the character of Valak was great in Conjuring 2. Don't get me wrong. Like just that moment when they're at home and their daughter just points like who's she at the end of the hallway and the nun's just standing there. Yeah, fantastic, but I didn't think she was that great a character to get us our own series.
No.
Sorry if anyone thinks I'm wrong here, but yeah, sorry.
That's all right. That's what we're here for, because it's like, yeah, like it's great to kind of chat about these kind of things, because it's like with the Conjuring and that it's a strange franchise, and then it's like they've just announced like the Warren TV spin-off. They're going to do a Conjuring 4, and I'm like, yeah, but you've still got all this mythology and all these kind of other creatures. Let's go. Like, you know, and like you say, Annabelle Comes Home really sets up is a big stepping stone for them. But
yeah, it was like 15 potential spin-offs they could go with that, but yet they just go with the nun again. Did it really do that well for you to give her another movie? I don't know. I don't know anyone who liked the first one.
See, I didn't mind it, but again, what I did is I watched it years removed from anything. So what I try and do now is, because I don't go to the cinema theatrically much anymore, what I love to do is I love to go and watch movies kind of like later, try and remove myself from the hype and anything surrounding the movie that I feel like would kind of taint an experience. So yeah, it's like that one I watched years later and I was like, cool, that was great, you know. And I kept the box set, and I just noticed it one day and I was sitting there going, I'm never going to watch these again. So I just sold them because I was like, yeah, I like the first two Conjuring movies, and I, like you say, like Annabelle's okay. I really thought Annabelle Creation was really, really interesting. And then I loved Annabelle Comes Home. But then you're like, okay, well there. And then I liked Conjuring 3, but you could feel James's kind of presence not there. And then, what else was there? Yeah,
they always tried to capture it because it ended up being Leigh Whannell ended up directing the third one. So maybe Leigh thought he could probably capture it in the same way but still give his own flair to it. But I do find that it's the weakest of the ones that I've seen.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like Leigh, ever since Leigh kind of branched off, and it went because he did Insidious. He did Insidious 3, but that was his like first directorial kind of movie. So I've never gone like, okay, Leigh's a bad director. I waited till what was when he did Upgrade. That was it. He did Upgrade, and I was like, whoa, okay. And then does The Invisible Man. So I'm like, okay, mate, you can do anything now. Like,
it's the Melbourne boys. That's why. They went to school in the city, mate. Like, it's just Australian brilliance. What can I say? It's just
Well,
that, of course, then when there's some brilliance in it, America's like, ooh, money. And then they take it and then they squeeze every little last drop out of it. I actually don't even know how the Saw films are still doing well. Because I feel like the further and further they went on, I'm just like, okay, I can't anymore. It's just kind of gross for the sake of gross.
yeah.
I can't get
But
into.
then, have you seen Saw X?
No, not yet.
Okay, because I watched it last night. I do not know how many people have said like it's fantastic because I like so fun kind of quick story is so I rented the first one and then my cinema started playing this no I had to rent the first two and then my cinema started doing three onwards, so I was like right, and then I used to sneak my little brother into the movies and we would do this thing every year, like it was a big thing. And once because we did the third one, I said we'd walk home and I say, oh, what did you think of it? He was like, it was rubbish. He says, I don't want to see it, I don't want to do it anymore. And then Saw 4 was announced. I was like, mate, we've got to do it, we've got to do Saw 4 theatrically, and it went on every single year. And then, obviously, once the final one ended, he said, "Oh, thank God it's over. I'll never do that again." And then when Jigsaw came out, he was like, "Rich, why don't we do this? We got to keep the tradition going."
Yeah.
So we went, and very much to your point is, I actually walked out, and he was like, "Oh," so I said, "What did you think of it?" He went, "Oh, it's rubbish." And I said, "Yeah, I agree." And he went, "What?" Because it was the first time I didn't like. It was the first time I didn't like a Saw movie, and he was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, man. Again, it was that movie. If I'm not mistaken, takes place right before Saw 1, and you're dealing with lasers, another apprentice." Like these people just keep coming out of the woodwork, and it just muddies the mythology so much. Then I saw Spiral, and I was like, oh, I know it's from the Book of Saw, but it just felt like a subpar thriller with Saw elements that didn't gel for me. And then I saw Saw X last night, and I'm telling you now, it is the return to form for this series.
Okay.
It is finally the return to form. And I literally went on a rampage, like just moaning last night. I just went, how is it that a franchise as long as Saw finally, like, so you think, right, 10 installments in, they have now finally made a movie about the guy the franchise is about. Think about that. Like, we finally get the film with Jigsaw and like
Yeah.
Amanda and things like that, and the kind of conversations we've always heard, rumored about, but we actually see them. And I went, that's stupid. Like, it's taken them that long, and I know that they've just announced Saw 11,
Yeah.
and I did see there was, like, I don't know whether or not it's an Easter egg or it was a complete thing. There's a document in the movie and they focus on 12. And I did say, like, if they did another 2 movies and finish it at Saw 12 in the franchise for good, I'd be happy. I think if you could do another 3 with the quality that I saw last night in Saw X, I'm down. I'm down, because there was a villain in Saw X that genuinely, like, I was ready to drop kick this person off a bridge. I really was. Oh God, no, I'm not. It was an expression. I'm sorry, TikTok.
It's an expression,
Yeah,
TikTok gods.
it is. It is. Genuinely made my blood boil, and I was like, finally, we're now getting that kind of real creative energy back into the franchise. So it's like, great.
Was it James and Leigh back for that? I actually don't remember
No.
saying. Also, it wasn't.
No, so James left after the first one, but became an executive producer, and that way he gets money. He gets money every time they make the movies and stuff, because he went on to do Dead Silence and obviously have the career. Leigh stayed on for the first 3, and then he's gone, and then they switch writers to Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton, who did the Collector series, and then they did it till Saw 7, and now they've got 2 new writers called... Sorry.
You're right.
Peter Goldfinger and Josh Stolberg. So they're now kind of the stalwarts that are doing the kind of franchise. They wrote the last three.
Ah, okay. So it looks like it's actually taken actual fans to go, you know what, this is what I actually want to see him do,
Yeah,
and this
yeah,
is what this is what I know that other fans want to see.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
kind of writers that you actually need, someone who actually understands it and goes, no, well, you know, just because you want to, as a producer or executive, want to show this, no, I can tell you, the audience actually wants this. Looks like
Yeah.
they've done it
'Cause
right.
I watched the making of last night, and I would hate to, even though I don't like Jigsaw, which they wrote, I now don't blame any of them for the problems of that movie, because hearing how they write a Saw movie makes my blood boil, because they write it. So imagine this: so you're a writer and you want to tell an interesting story. They not only have the Twisted Picture guys, so you've got two producers there. You've then got Lionsgate producers, which are about 4 or 5 of them, and they all sit in a room. And then you've got the director as well. So that's at least a room of 12 people, all bashing out a story. Like, like how any of these can be good is a miracle, and that's why I don't really kind of blame the last kind of couple, because it's like, okay, Lionsgate are trying to put everything back into this franchise, but I do think that there is a time that they do need to just say, right, we're done, let's focus on a new franchise, because
Exactly.
you know, Tobin Bell, unfortunately, I don't want to be morbid, but we've only got so many more movies left with him, and it's like, cool, let's don't keep worrying about books of Saw and things like that. Let's make a new interesting franchise. Let's send him out on a high. Couple
Yeah.
more movies with him like this that are great. Boom.
Well, Nick here actually just said that the collector was originally going to be Saw 2,
Ah,
which I did not know
because I
that.
know. No, I know that they were looking at a kind of couple of other scripts and stuff, and then Darren's script, which then Leigh rewrote. That's what got Darren Lynn Bousman on, who did Saw 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I love that franchise, but yeah, the last two have been.
It's just, it's making a movie for making the sake of a movie, and it really does
Yeah,
affect everything over, like, in the end. Because I don't know, like, I tried rewatching the whole series a couple of months ago. I think I only did about, I think I did 4 of them. It was,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe sometimes I'm just not in the right mindset to watch, just because I've been at work. Sometimes I don't want to have a movie I've got to really focus on to watch, some background noise maybe. But then it was like overlapping, just because, Jigsaw was dead, and it's kind of like, okay, well, he has to be alive because we have to have all these new tapes and stuff like that. So we'll overlap, and while this is happening, and you're like, I don't know what's fucking going on anymore. Like, what the hell, kind of thing.
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not
yeah,
paying attention properly. I'm just like, that's happening at the same time as this, and fucking just, and also because they're all like actors we don't know, you don't recognize them
yeah,
most of the time, and you're just like, what? Was he in the last one? I don't remember. What the hell is this kind
yeah.
of thing? Like, yeah, I find them a little confusing. Like, I do have them. I think I actually got them bought for Christmas as like a big set, like with all of them before they released X, but I haven't watched them all because I feel like sometimes it's just gross for the sake of gross. Like, I have like the Hostel movies, but I've only watched the first one, which I do enjoy. It was something I was like, what the hell am I watching? But then I know they're going to go gross for the sake of gross to just up that, and sometimes I just find a little unnecessary.
Yeah, Hostel 2 has a scene that like when you watch it, we'll talk about it because I can't talk about it on live.
Yeah,
But
I have a feeling you probably
yeah,
can't.
it's exactly what you're talking about. There was like a run of movies that had scenes very similar to this, like the one scene I'm thinking of, and it was just being absolutely kind of really gross just to be gross. Like I always call it like it's
Is
like
this like someone having a
a very
shower? Is this the one you're referring to?
no.
No.
No, this involves a dog. This involves a dog, and so it's right at the end of the movie, yeah, and it's basically there was kind of a run of these where they would do like intense shock moments, and it's like a cheap shock,
Yeah.
and it just feels really gross, but also very, very kind of false to the movie.